Happy Monday. The hockey season is here. This is the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show today as well. It is our season preview show. We have a ton to get to and a limited amount of time to get to it, so we're going to get right to it after you smash the like button, subscribe to our YouTube page, and open up your favorite podcast app, follow, and then leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So here's what we're going to do. Central Division, Western and Eastern Conference playoff teams, Cup champion, Blackhawks-centric stats, postseason awards, all of that in a 1-hour bag. So let's get right to it, fellas, with our Central Division predictions. This is the only division where we're going to do every team because this is the division the Blackhawks are in, if you didn't know. So let's start there. Central Division. You want to go bottom to top or top to bottom? So one thing we haven't discussed yet.
Let's go bottom to top.
Let's do it.
Because that means we start with the Blackhawks.
Spoilers.
I do.
Ye of little faith.
I expect this team to be much better than it was last year. I expect games to be more competitive, more watchable. All of those things that we're hoping for from what Kyle Davidson did this offseason to add to the team. Second year of Connor Bedard. I think things are, in general, going to be better. But being better than second to last in the NHL last season is a small step. It's a good step, but it's a small step. So I still have them finishing last in the Central, followed by the St. Louis Blues, because I don't really trust the Blues to be that good this year. I don't know why. I think it's just I don't like them, so I want them to see.
It is personal.
Yeah, and someone's got to finish second to last. So it's
right.
I say it's going to be St. Louis. I like Utah to go sixth in the division. I think they're a team that is on that cusp of, like, you know, in a year or two where the Blackhawks should be, where it's just like right there, but not necessarily getting into the postseason. But I think that they're going to be right in that hunt. Also in the hunt, Minnesota. I have them finishing fifth in the division. And spoiler alert, that's not good. It won't be good enough to make the playoffs for the Wild. And I feel like their goaltending is a reason that I'm not sold on them going over the top. It'll be close. But then I have Winnipeg in fourth. Nashville, with all that they did this offseason, I have them in third. With Stamkos and Marcia Show and Brady Shea stepping in. Colorado, a lot of question marks, but I still feel like they have tons of firepower. They finished second in the division. And my Central Division winner, the blueprint of how to contend and keep that window open for a long time, the Dallas Stars.
All right.
Sounds pretty good. I have the St. Louis Blues finishing in 8th place.
Ooh, spicy.
I'm not gonna hate that.
I don't like their team.
No, from your lips to Hosa's ears, my friend.
I don't like. They're kind of in that weird. We're stuck in the middle, and I just think this is the year things really fall apart there. Then I have in 7th place the unnamed Utah Hockey Club team.
Wow,
I am not jumping on this bandwagon of just because they're no longer in Arizona, they're just all of a sudden going to be a good hockey team. I think they're heading in the right direction, but until you actually prove you can do it, I'm just going to assume you stink. Then I have the Blackhawks in 6th. Now, we'll go to total points. It doesn't mean they're going to be a huge jump in points, but I think those 3 bottom teams are probably going to finish like separated by like 3 points.
Yeah.
That's going to be a close race.
The battle for last.
Exactly.
That, yeah.
And then I have the Wild in 5th. The only reason they're not down lower is because I think they're still better than those 3 teams, but still not I don't trust them, even though they've been a juggernaut in the preseason. I think it'll be more of the same. Winnipeg in 4th. I doubted them last year. Not going to make that mistake this year. I have Colorado in 3rd. I think they're a team that kind of has learned their lesson, like just get in and get there. And they still, I think they've got some depth issues out there in Colorado. Dallas in 2nd. I am picking the Nashville Predators to win the Central Division.
Wow.
I really like what they did this offseason. When you add 82 combined goals in Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault.
Like 3 lines for the Hawks.
That's like, and then now Philip Forsberg doesn't have to be the guy.
Yeah.
He still might be, but he doesn't have to do it all himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. And Saros got the big contract. I think he's going to live up to those expectations.
No goals.
I think the Predators just have a really good team, and they're going to win the division. Mm. I was the only guy here last year to pick them to make the playoffs, so I'm feeling I'm the only guy here picking them to win the division. Just think over the course of 82 games, with those guys that they've added, they're ready to be, a top contender.
I almost did the same thing. Almost. I've got the Hawks finishing 8th. Again, we expect a significant jump in the standings, but to go from where they were to where they're going to be is still going to finish maybe your 5th worst instead of 3rd worst or 2nd worst.
Right. Yeah.
Fine. I've got the Blues 7th. I don't buy the Blues at all. I think that I like what they did with the offer sheets. I don't think they're going to help the team as much as they think it's going to. I like those are nice players. I don't know if they're needle movers. Maybe I'm wrong. I have Minnesota 6th. Again, average. They've got some good players, of course, but I think some of those players have their eyes elsewhere.
Future Blackhawk.
In a couple of years. Exactly. Marc-Andre Fleury is 100,000 years old. I know he's not going to get the bulk of starts, but I don't know. There's not a lot there that makes me believe. I do like Utah. I think Utah is going to have a good year. Much like Ryan Donato will have new dad strength. The Utah to be named team will have new team strength, and they'll get that bump much like the Kraken did in their first year. Then I've got Winnipeg. They're just deep. They're strong, but they're not deep or strong enough to win a cup. I got Colorado 3rd, kind of what you were saying, Greg. I think Colorado is going to pace themselves a little bit this year. We're good enough to get in. We don't have to kill ourselves for 82 games to get there and just kind of, I'm not going to say coast, but I think they're going to keep some in the tank for the playoffs, which is important. Mm-hmm. And I'm really curious what Landeskog is going to be like if he returns, when he returns, whatever that's going to look like. Right. I've got Nashville 2nd, but barely. For all the reasons you said, they added a ton. They're a really good team. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. But I do still have the Dallas Stars winning the division because I just look at them as probably the 2nd best team in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
I do think one thing that's going to give Nashville the edge in overall in the division is because the Stars are another one of those teams that might be like, hey, let's not kill ourselves these last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Where Nashville is so, like, they're dying to have a Central Division Championship banner.
They need a banner.
That they're going to go,
gotta have that banner.
Full pedal all 82 games because they want that banner.
Well, yes, that tracks, and I might change. No, I'm not going to change. All right, that brings us to our first graphic of the show.
Yay, graphics.
Oh, let's get graphic.
Here are your Western Conference playoff teams according to Mario Tirabassi. And if you're looking at the graphic here on YouTube, you can see the red are the division champions, the black are the wild card teams, and the green are the rest, the friends we made along the way.
Yes, and I don't think I put these necessarily in the standings order. But I like it outside of the division winners and the wild card. I feel like the Oilers, they're a team on a mission. I mean, if you've had a chance to watch the docuseries that came out on Prime Video, just the scenes from the Oilers locker room following the Game 7 loss in the Stanley Cup final, man, it is
stuff.
Gripping stuff. It is absolute scenes, as the children say. And I can just imagine a highly motivated Connor McDavid, more than he probably ever has been, just tearing through the league. You got Draisaitl's situation all cleared up. That's no longer a topic of conversation. I think the Oilers are going to be the top seed in the West. and I had the Stars, and then I also had, if I can look it up here, Avalanche again. Like I said, they're going to be in there. Vegas, I think, is going to be in there. No questions asked. Predators from the Central Division as well. And then I got the Kings coming out of the Pacific, and Vancouver as one of the wild cards, and then the other wild card was the Winnipeg Jets.
All right. Like it.
Alrighty. Well, I have our 3 Central, Predators and Stars. In Avalanche, I too think the Oilers are winning the Pacific Division. They're going to be joined there by the Canucks and the Golden Knights. I have the Canucks in second and the Golden Knights in third. And my 2 wildcard teams are the Winnipeg Jets and the LA Kings. It was kind of hard picking the same 8 teams that made it last year, but I really don't see anybody who's improved enough. And I haven't seen any of those outside of those that did anything that's really going to make them fall out either. One like the East is totally different. The East is harder to pick.
Yeah.
Because you have a lot of those middling teams. You really don't have a middling team in the West. It's like 8 good teams and 8 meh teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if maybe the Wild, maybe like in the Pacific, outside that top, after those 4 teams, I mean, the 3.
Yeah. It's definitely haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Flames, Sharks, Ducks, none of those teams are making a big run.
No.
So,
and then Kraken, who knows?
yeah. I mean, that was one team I was like, maybe they got a new coach. Their young players are. I think.
I feel like one of those teams is probably going to be like 4 points out of the wild card.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
close, but just not there.
Yeah, so it was tough going same 8, but prove me wrong.
Yeah, I have in mind for the West, I've got the Stars and Oilers at the top. Nashville, Colorado, Vegas, and Vancouver. And my wild card teams are the Jets and Utah. I did pick Phoenix, Arizona to go last year.
Yeah.
I think, I think it's a better team. Their young players are older. Clayton Keller, by the way, named captain.
Yeah.
On Friday. I also think we undersell a little bit everything that was going on around that team last year. How that impacted them. That was a big deal. That's all they heard about all year was land auctions and board meetings and like all this. Like, where are we going to play next year?
Yeah.
I think just having the security of saying, okay, here is our home. Here is an owner that we can seemingly trust that is truly invested in making this team good. They made a good trade in getting Sergachev at the draft. Like, I just think that all of a sudden these guys are going to look at things and just be like, okay, now we can just focus on hockey. Yeah. And I also think too, when people don't really understand like why guys want to come and play for the Hawks, the amenities that the Hawks have versus other teams. Utah's going to have amenities they didn't have in Phoenix. They're going to have things that are going to make their lives easier as hockey players. So I think all that factored in with an improved roster, a maturing roster, and a lot of young, exciting talent. I'm excited to see what Utah has this year. Maybe I'll be wrong, but what's a prediction show without sticking your neck out every now and again?
Here's an interesting stat by for the Coyotes, now Utah's. In their 2 seasons at the Mullet Arena, they were actually 43, 34, and 5.
Wow.
They actually had a home ice advantage there because I think a lot of teams got there and were like, this is kind of stupid. What are we doing here?
It's too small.
And
I can't fit down these hallways.
Do they lose that home ice advantage? Because they were a terrible, garbage-ass road team these last 2 years. So it'd be interesting to see. That's why I'm not jumping on that Utah's going to be any different routine just yet.
We'll see what home ice in Utah looks like tomorrow.
Yeah, and some of the fans won't be able to see what it all looks like because 3/4 of it is cut off.
Three quarters of the ice. That's okay.
All right, we are going to get we're going to get to the Eastern Conference, our Cup champs, and our postseason awards in the next segment here on CHGO Blackhawks.
And whether it's pro or college, the app to bet football is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports, it's betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season. Spreads, props, futures, or in-game, Circa Sports has it. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You can bet hockey on there too. Just saying.
You can.
Yeah. And tomorrow for the Hawks opener against Utah, playoff-bound Utah. You might be stressed out. First game of the year.
Sports, I dare
a lot of new faces. All those sort of things. You might want to choose chill before the game begins. Maybe your antenna's scrambly. Can't get the channel in clearly.
Well, tomorrow's game is going to be easier to.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's ESPN tomorrow. That's right. Anyway, I digress. You want to choose chill anyway because it's game 1 of 82.
Yes.
Settle in, pace yourself, and choose Coors Light. It is the perfect beer when you choose chill. When those mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. Coors Light, as you know by now, is cold lagered, cold filtered, and most importantly, actually I don't know if it's most important, cold packaged for a smoother finish.
Let's say it's most important.
Yeah. So when you embrace a chill mindset, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Coors Light is mountain cold refreshment, crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. So make the most out of the times that you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get it delivered right now while you're sitting there on the couch getting ready to watch hockey with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/CHGO Hockey. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Do us a favor. Smash that like button for us before we get to our Eastern Conference playoff teams, our cup winners, and our postseason awards. We would appreciate that very, very much. All right, Mario, Eastern Conference playoffs. Do it.
Eastern Conference playoffs. Well, at the top of the list there, I have the 2 division winners. The New York Rangers winning the Metro and the Stanley Cup champion, defending Stanley Cup champion, Florida Panthers winning the Atlantic Division. Also coming into the postseason, I got the Maple Leafs, the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Devils, who won the first game of the year.
Yep.
Out there in Czechia. The Hurricanes, and then my wild card teams are going to be the Bruins and the New York Islanders. I think this is. I think the East is, like you were saying, it's kind of some muddle there in the middle where, I was trying to figure out, like, okay, should the Bruins, are they a wild card team or are they a top 3 in their division? Are the Hurricanes a wild card team or a top 3 in division? Where does Detroit land? For me, I don't trust their goaltending situation enough to say that they have enough to get over that hump. They were right there, tied for a wild card spot, but they lost on a tiebreaker last year. News on Friday, Jack Campbell is going to be out indefinitely. So now that goaltending situation is Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon. Like it's not
Billy Husso.
Billy Husso. Yeah, it's definitely not
cavalcade of backups.
Yeah, they don't have that guy that's really going to put them over the top. Their defense is outside of Mort Seider. Like, I just don't trust that they're enough to be a playoff team. Yeah.
All right. My Eastern Conference, I have the Rangers winning the Metro, the Panthers winning the Atlantic. Then I have the Devils and the Hurricanes coming out of the Metro. I almost wanted to predict the Hurricanes to miss the playoffs.
I was close to.
It's just they've lost a lot. They lost a lot, and I really think that, like, they've been the most overrated team in the NHL for the last 5 years. If the Toronto Maple Leafs didn't exist, but they've been this team that everybody's like, that's our dark horse pick. That's our dark horse pick. And every year it's the same thing. They can't get through the playoffs. Then I have the Maple Leafs second in the Atlantic. I'm going to take the Bruins third. I learned my lesson. I picked them the last 2 seasons to miss the playoffs. So this year they will miss the playoffs because I picked them to get in. I have Tampa Bay as a wild card because I'm still not. They're like, yeah, they lost Steven Stamkos. That hurts a lot, but I think you still have Kucherov. You still have Victor Hedman. I think Jake Gensel is going to be really good down there. Like, they won't miss. They really won't miss the beat. Yes, you have Vasilevsky still in that. A lot of depth. I'm going to take the Buffalo Sabres as my. I'm just going to keep picking them until they actually do it.
Me with Utah.
I think with Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff wins wherever he goes, especially early on.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be that guy that kind of gets them. Their problem was the last couple of years, they started off slow, and then they got really hot at the end of the year, but it was just too much to overcome. Last year they started off slow because they missed Tage Thompson for an extended period of time. So if they stay healthy, he's going to get them to avoid that slow start. I know they were goalied in their first game, but I think Lindy Ruff is enough to get them in the playoffs. And
Enough is enough.
Yes, and then upset the Rangers in the first round.
Well, they're off to a slow start.
Long way to go.
Here's mine. I have the Maple Leafs and the Devils as your division winners.
Oh.
Florida, the Rangers, the Bruins, and the Hurricanes. And then my wildcard teams are Tampa Bay and Detroit. Detroit was very close last year. They're going to have a full season of Patrick Kane, a more healthy Patrick Kane, probably the healthiest he's been in a long time. He's a year older. I'm not taking anything away from that. You have Sider and Raymond locked up. You have some certainty there. Yes, the goaltending is problematic. The defense is not super impressive, but I think they've got enough up front if they remain healthy to squeeze into the playoffs there. So there are my Eastern Conference playoff teams.
Nice.
Carolina was.
I wanted to.
No, they're going to be the same they always are. I know losing Tavo was, it's a big loss.
Tavo, they lost Shea, they lost Gensel.
They lost some good pieces.
Lost a lot, and the problem is they didn't replace them with a whole lot.
I just feel like a lot of what they do is system based and coaching based, and I feel like Brind'Amour and the crew of veterans that are still there, like, will find a way to get in.
Brind'Amour knows how to navigate an 82-game season. It's those best of 7 series he struggles in.
I also had Philly. Like my first couple drafts, I had Philly in there, but I think maybe not yet.
No, Philly was, I think.
Unless Michkov is like unfriggin' real.
Yeah, but you got to remember who their coach is. The first time he tries a Michigan in the game, he's going to be healthy scratch for 8 games.
He will jump on the ice and remove him physically.
Yeah. I think Philly really overachieved last year, and they're younger this year than they were last year. They're going to take a step back, I think.
All right. We made a mistake. I made a mistake. We don't have a cup final graphic. We need to pick our final, and then we'll pick our cup winner. So,
okay.
Sarah, you're good for a minute. We don't need our cup. So, Mario, who do you got in the cup final?
My cup final, again, like I said before, I feel like the Oilers are a team on a mission. They're going to come out of the West. And coming out of the East, kind of getting over that hump. They've been in the Eastern Conference final a lot recently. I have the New York Rangers behind Igor Shesterkin.
Okay.
Getting to the Eastern Conference final.
Who's Mark Messier
and
going to root for then?
getting into the Stanley Cup final. Was that?
So who's Mark Messier going to root for in that series?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Who cares?
Very few. Not me.
I'm actually going with the same exact Stanley Cup final I picked last year.
Yeah.
This year, it might happen.
It's not a bad choice.
I'm going with the Edmonton Oilers, actually, for the third straight year. For the second straight year, I'm predicting they're going to face the New Jersey Devils.
That would be
in
nice.
the Stanley Cup final. The Devils had some injuries, and they had 0 goaltending last year. They got their goaltender. If Jack Hughes stays healthy, then that would be just glorious if Sheldon Keefe takes the Devils to the Stanley Cup final in his first year out of Toronto. The storylines are fantastic.
I always like to see a man shaped like me
then we
succeed.
get to see Jeremy Colleton behind the bench during the Stanley Cup final. Just so many heads are going to explode. I'm here for it. Oilers, Devils.
Yeah, and Luke Hughes, the milkman's son.
Yes.
Looks nothing like his brothers. It's awkward. Sure. And NHL 25 is not doing him any favors by having all 3 of them in a picture together. You're like,
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, my cup final is very boring. I've got the Panthers and Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the Eastern Conference.
Put yourself out on a limb.
And I know, but the Panthers are just so much better than everybody. And as much as I am not a Maple Leafs hater. I like the Maple Leafs. I actually root for the Maple Leafs. I'm not like a fan, but I don't hate them like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Until they do it, I have no faith they can do it.
Yeah.
So I just think the Panthers might run out of gas. That's a concern. But if the Oilers aren't running out of gas, the Panthers aren't running out of gas, and I think it's a rematch this year of those two.
Back-to-back Stanley Cup final appearances for the Panthers. I mean, the Lightning did it 3 years in a row. Not that long ago.
They won 2 or 3.
And won the first 2, and they were totally out of gas in that series against Colorado. So it's possible. I mean, they're definitely the team that everybody's going to be gunning for. So we'll see how that works out.
I mean, they didn't really lose.
They're pretty much the same
much.
team,
Yeah.
except with some Blackhawk legends on their team now in Adam Boquist, and they got both Boquist now, don't they?
Boquist,
I think so.
And then
Boquist
our guy, Sky Point, Mackenzie Entwistle.
That's going to get him over the hump.
Have either of them been sent down yet? I know.
Watch your mouth.
They would have been to me. I know.
I think so. Yeah.
All right, Cup champion,
Have to look
Mario.
for it. McDavid and the Oilers and Draisaitl and Richie Rich, Zach Hyman. They win. They win the Stanley Cup.
Spoiled.
They get over the hump. They all the blood, sweat, and tears that you saw after Game 7. It's all worth it because they come back and they win. And I say that they win in Edmonton, not
That'd be
in New
nice.
York, in Edmonton. And Canada finally ends their drought without a Stanley Cup.
All right.
31 years? 32? 93. So it'd be 32.
32 years.
Damn.
It's a long time ago.
That was 32
That was
years ago.
before Sarah was born.
Good Lord.
I too.
I was cool back then.
Yeah, no, you weren't.
Great was a good year for me. Shut up.
I too, for the third straight year, am predicting the Edmonton.
It's eventually going to
I'm going to
happen.
keep predicting them until they win. Damn it! But this, unlike the last 2 years, this is the year they're going to do it. Connor McDavid is going to be on a mission this year.
He might put up 200 points.
Not only because of coming within one goal of winning the Stanley Cup last year, but hey, he's got a contract coming up. Might be a big FU season for
Future
Connor
Hawk.
McDavid. I just think they made some really sound. They got Jeff Skinner for nothing.
Yeah.
They made some really
And Victor
sound
Arvidsson, if
moves.
he's healthy, he's a really good player too.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
you know, I know we joke a lot about Stan Bowman, but you know, he's in his comfort zone. Inherited a really talented team
Yes.
that he only has to tinker with
Here's
to win
this.
a cup in his first year there.
Here's this Ferrari.
I've seen this story before.
Oh, nice looking Ferrari. I'm gonna drive this right into the ground.
and then 3 years from now, it will be a raging dumpster fire, but they're going to get their banner this year.
All right, I agree. We are 3 for 3 on the Oilers.
We agree
are
too much on this podcast.
the Oilers podcast on the All City Network. DJ Bean, take that.
C-
All three of us taking
CHG Oilers.
That's right. For all the reasons you guys
Oilers.
stated, I think Connor McDavid will be a man possessed. Was it last year? We're like, well, he's going to try to score more goals this year, or was it whatever it was?
He won he scored, 64 2 years ago, and then last year it was like, oh, here's 100 assists.
Yeah. So now he's going to say, you know, I'm going to do both.
I'm gonna do all of it. Yeah.
I'm going to do all of it by
100 of
myself.
each.
I'm going to have 300 points, and we're going to win the cup on my back. Look, we can keep picking them year after year after year, but when you've got two of the top 5 players in hockey on your team,
Yeah.
that's how you do it.
They've got depth,
And I think
and I think Stuart Skinner is going to have a good year.
I was going to say Skinner has kind of pulled himself out of that, weak link conversation.
He's the best goalie they've had in the McDavid era.
Since Grant Fuhr.
Like, it's not Mike Smith back there, who's an absolute clown
No.
show at times. Like,
Right.
he'll be fine.
Yes.
They're going to get a full season, with Chris Knobloch. I always want
Yes.
to call him Chuck.
Chris Knobloch.
he
Not
can
the
throw
base-
to first.
Not
Right.
the baseball player.
But full training camp, full season with him. I don't think they're going to get off to that terrible start. They're going to be fine.
Age quiz. Sarah, do you know who Chuck Knobloch is?
Didn't think so.
Okay, former baseball player, all-star level player, and then suddenly lost the ability to throw the ball to first base and just couldn't play anymore.
Hit his own mom once.
Yeah. Like just
His mom was
With a
at the
baseball.
game. Yeah.
was he a second baseman?
Second
right?
baseman.
He couldn't
His-
throw from second to first, and it ended his
just
career.
literally forgot how to do it. And like there was a game, I think it was at Yankee Stadium because he ended with the Yankees, and his mom was in the stands, like in the 4th row behind first base, and he threw it and like literally hit her
Jeez.
in the stands.
Was there no net?
Yeah, it was pro. Yeah, this is what
geez,
20 years
I forget,
ago. Or
she doesn't
whatever.
even remember. There was a time there was no net. Yeah,
Which is just dumb.
we were
There
crazy
should've
back
always
then.
been
And the
a net.
'90s was a reckless decade.
Yeah, it was. Back when cannabis was illegal, but guess what? It's legal now.
Sure is.
That's a
As we hit the
segue,
break
folks.
zone. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free legal cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors can find what they need to elevate their lives, like I do several times a week. Sunnyside has everything you need. Whether you are a novice, whether you are a pro, whether you are a noob, they've got something there for you. 100 strains to choose from at a time, and they've got some of the greatest brands. My two favorites, the Mindy's and the Good News. I've also used Cresco, which is that great high-quality flower. Wonderful stuff. So many good brands there, so head on in there. If you don't know what you're doing, don't feel weird. Just ask for help. The Sunnyside people are going to be there to help you out. You can also browse online, and online they've got all sort of descriptions of everything you're looking for. It could not be easier. Do not be intimidated. Sunnyside is the place to go. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois MedCard holders.
And hey, if you're sitting on the couch and enjoying your Sunnyside purchases, why not look at your floor and say, I could upgrade that too. And do it with our friends at Empire Today. With Empire Today, you get to shop at home convenience, the right products for your needs with quick and professional installation, and you get a low price guarantee. Empire Today is the best place to get new flooring, so of course they have copycats, but Empire cannot be beaten on quality, service, or speed, so competitors will advertise low-quality products that Empire simply won't carry. Empire won't promise the lowest prices because anyone who is doing that is putting flooring in your home that they wouldn't put in their own.
Jerks.
Boo. And when I said you're sitting on the couch there, you can use their virtual floor designer. It's a great way to see new floors and how they will look in any space. All you got to do is snap a picture and instantly see how those floors will look in your room. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, and all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when you use the code CHGO. Restrictions do apply. Again, see empiretoday.com/CHGO for more details.
All right, before we get to our Blackhawks bets or predictions here, do us a favor, smash that like button for us. Make sure you're subscribed as well. We're going to do our postseason awards, starting with the Hart Trophy. The Hart Trophy is given to the player judged to be the most valuable to his team by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. So, Mario, who do you have for the Hart Trophy?
The man on the mission, Connor McDavid. I think he's going to, spoiler alert, he's also going to lead the league in points. I think what we've seen from him in the last few years is just going to continue, if not grow. I mean, when you're the best player on the planet, I don't know how much better you can get, but it seems like McDavid finds ways to do that. I think he is going to be head and shoulders the best player in the league this year. I know that's a hot take.
Ditto. Connor McDavid for all those reasons.
Me too. All right, let's move on to the Art Ross, which is the points leader. Go ahead. You already said McDavid?
McDavid, and I say he puts up 148 points.
By the All-Star break.
Just against the Blackhawks. I, too, have Connor McDavid leading the league in points, and he's going to flirt with 150. I think he eclipses 150 points.
Okay, just
Crazy.
So we don't all have the same thing, I'm going with Nathan McKinnon because that guy is a points machine. Points machine. All right, next up, we have the Selke Trophy awarded to the forward who best excels in the defensive aspects of the game, a.k.a. centers.
Mostly. Well, you know, if Greg's prediction of the Devils getting to the Cup final is going to come true, I think this guy's going to have a big part of it. I'm going to go with Nico Hischier.
I like that.
Awesome. I'm going to go. I think the Selke is the most reputation-based award out there. So,
If not that and the Norris.
yeah I think, the most underrated player in the league, Alexander Barkov, wins it
So
again.
underrated.
Because it was Bergeron's award.
No one even knows about this
Exactly.
guy.
Bergeron won that award every year just because, and I think it's now Barkov's turn to win that award every year just because. And don't get me wrong, he's awesome.
No, he deserves it.
But it just seems that, like,
he's
Yeah.
deserving.
it seems like back in the 80s and 90s when you were voting for all-star games, it was like Cal Ripken's playing at shortstop because it's Cal Ripken. Like, it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right. Totally agree. I think Barkov is a new Bergeron. He's going to win it until someone.
Yeah. And the only
clearly
thing that's going to
dethrones him.
prevent him from not winning it is if he gets hurt and misses a big portion of the season.
Right.
Otherwise, it's his.
I was going all over the place looking at odds. I forget exactly which one it was that had like the Selke odds, and Barkov's were so far and away. What do you call them? The highest odds, best odds to win it.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close. He might have been the only minus player on the board. So yeah, I mean, it is his award until it's not. Next up, speaking of reputation awards, the Norris for the league's best defenseman.
I'm going to go out on a limb.
Uh-oh.
Cale Makar.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Hot take.
Yeah. He is the best defenseman in the league. I know there's a pretty close group behind him with, Heischer and Yossi and Quinn Hughes and those guys, but I still think year after year you can pencil in Cale Makar as going to be the best defenseman in the league, and I think he's going to shoulder a lot for Colorado, and he's able to do it. So I'm going with him.
I hope that is a strong branch because I am going on that limb with you. I still think one day Cale Makar is going to win a Hart Trophy. It's not this year, but he's got the Norris. It'll be his second if he wins.
Yeah.
Would be his second, yeah.
Well, we thought it was going to be him forever, and then Quinn Hughes won it last year.
Yeah.
Deservedly so, too.
Well, and then Erik Karlsson put up 100 points.
Yeah.
And all
You
that.
can't-
So,
yeah. I mean,
Well, guess who I got,
It's
guys?
become a points race.
I, too, have Cale Makar.
Oh, man.
We just
So
never
we agree
do-
too much on
Yeah,
this
We
show.
do. Next up, the
Share one
Richard
brain.
for the league's top goal scorer.
I have Austin Matthews, and I was thinking maybe Pasternak, but it's Matthews' best thing he does is put the puck in the net, and he's just incredible at it. Can do it in so many different ways. And you put the C on his chest. I think that's good for at least plus 5 goals this year.
Sure.
I think he's going to lead the league again.
But Craig Berube is going to make him a fighter, and that's going to hurt his goal totals.
Yeah.
I have Connor McDavid scoring the most goals because I think last
see
year
that, yeah.
he was on a mission to be an assist guy.
Yeah.
This year he's like, screw that. I'm scoring goals. I think Connor McDavid's going to score.
No more 50-goal seasons for Zach Hyman. I'm going to get all the goals.
I
You
think
get all the money.
I think McDavid is plus 60 goals this year.
Yeah.
All right. I have Austin Matthews as well. That's what he does. He's great at it. There are a few that can score like him until Bedard matures a little bit, and then we'll start adding him to the conversation. Let's skip the Lindsay. That's the MVP voted by. I think we're all going to say
Voted on by
McDavid.
players. I had McDavid.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the Vezina for best goalie.
Helping his team get to the Cup final before running into McDavid, I have Igor Shesterkin as the Vezina winner.
Okay.
I too picked Igor Shesterkin because I think he's the best goalie in the league. See, I don't want to be like this reputation. I do hate the Rangers, but I will give them credit. I picked them to win the division. I picked their goalie.
That's true.
And then I also picked Buffalo to knock them out in the first round just for my enjoyment.
You're nothing if not objective.
Yes.
Let's talk about a limb. I'm picking Jacob Markstrom.
That is a limb.
Change of scenery.
Yeah.
He's had some great years in Calgary.
He's been a finalist before.
Yes, I think playing on a better team without
his health is his biggest deterrent.
correct. By the way, good start. He's 1-0.
Yeah.
Stopped 31 to 30,
So he's
30
ahead
to
of
31
everybody
shots
else.
on Friday against the
He
Sabres.
Friday he made the save of the year candidate in the first
Yeah,
game.
that's it.
That was
paddle save.
And I
was
think for
ridiculous.
him too, a little bit of certainty, a little bit of security. That's a name that has been out there forever.
Yeah.
And the Devils felt like a foregone conclusion for at least 2 years now. It's happened. He's there. He's undefeated. I think it's going to be a big year for Markstrom. And I do think that we do say these are reputation awards. I think when an opportunity presents the writers, and the voters to have somebody different, they jump at it if the logic is there, and I think it could be there for Markstrom.
Everybody loves a good redemption story.
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
I know
Absolutely.
we didn't have Calder on our list. Do anybody want to take a quick?
I'm going to go Michkov on the caller.
Yes. I was super bummed. I did not get him in the fantasy league draft that I was in a couple nights ago with some of the beat writers and stuff. It was literally like, okay, I'm picking him this round. He went the pick right before me. I was
that's the
very
worst.
upset.
Who stole him from me? Charlie.
I forget who it was.
It's probably Charlie.
I'll
Yeah.
talk to him.
I was very upset, but I'm gonna take Michkov. I think he's gonna be a big part of what the Flyers do this year.
My pick for the Calder is a guy that I think a lot of people forgot
Cole Gutman.
And
Rock
he
favorite.
is he is eligible still. Shane Wright.
Ah, interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a great year in the AHL. He's got a couple years experience. He's ready.
He's 27 years old.
He's going
He's got the
to
age factor.
he's got Artemi Panarin in it. And no, I think
He's only what, 21?
21, 22.
Yeah.
He's still young, but I think a lot of people forgot that he still exists, and he's going to be a full-time NHL player this year and be a big part of Seattle.
Good call. I like
Interesting.
that. All right. Now let's get to our Blackhawks predictions, what you've all been waiting for, and we appreciate you sticking with us. Do us a favor, and please smash that like button for us. We are going to start with our Blackhawks point predictions for the season. Mario, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so like I said, I have them finishing last in the division, but still improving upon last year in a significant way. A 20-point improvement from 52 points last year gets them up to 72. That's the math that I like. And I just think year two of Bedard, I think the additions make an improvement. The goaltending is going to be improved on a nightly basis. You'd hope, based off of what Laurent Brossoit has done in the past and what we saw from Peter Mrazek last year. We talked about it last week on the show. What kind of goal scoring can they have? It still doesn't seem like, even if guys hit their expectations, aside from Bedard going for 40 plus or whatever, doesn't seem like they have enough firepower just yet to be a team that on a nightly basis is putting up 3 goals or so. So, I have them at 72 points, which is better.
Yeah.
It's better.
Take that.
I'll take it.
I have them at 77 points, a 25-point improvement. So based on my
10 more wins.
central predictions, I then will have the Blues at 75, Utah at 76, Blackhawks at 77.
I
It's
love
going to
it.
come right down to the wire. It's going to be that victory on New Year's Eve at Wrigley Field that makes the difference between finishing in
nice.
last and finishing in sixth.
There you go.
Yes, a lot on the line at the Winter Classic. So I think they've done enough to get a 25-point improvement with the backup goaltending situation and Tavo and Bertuzzi. Like, they actually have 2 real power play units.
Yep.
Their defense still not great, but should be better. So as I've been telling people all summer long, the Blackhawks are going to be good this year. They're going to be better.
Mhm.
They're going to be more competitive, but they're still not going to be great.
Watchable.
But you will see a step in the right direction and lots of momentum heading into next season as well.
All right, I'm going with 74 points, so right in between the two of you. And Sarah, thank you for using Tavo for my photo. I appreciate that. For all the reasons you stated, I think pretty much anywhere in the mid 70s would be good. You feel really good about that.
That would be good. I mean, that's we're talking about with all of our predictions. It's at minimum 10 win difference from last year to this upcoming season. Like, that's not nothing to turn your nose up at. Like, that 10 more wins is a lot more fun than what we saw last year. So I would, even if it's still finishing last in the division or still picking in the top 6 or whatever, if you're in the 70-point range, that's so much better than last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally agree with that.
How many one goal losses did they have last year? Like, a ton.
Not as many as the year before,
But like, and how many games was it like go up 2-0 in the first period and then watch it fade away? Like,
lose 5-2.
I think they're gonna, with the more veterans, the more guys, not gonna have as many guys getting rattled.
You'd hope, yeah.
You have guys that know what it's supposed to look like and where they're supposed to be. It's gonna make a huge difference.
Yes. All right. Next up, we're going to move to our Connor Bedard predictions. Found a couple online odds and averaged them. So Bedard goals, that the average line is set at 34.5 points, 82.5. Mario, what do you got for points and goals and assists?
Well, on both of those metrics, I'll take the over. I gave him 35 goals, 50 assists, 85 points for year 2. I would love for it to be in the same lane as Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid for their year twos where they eclipsed 100 points. I would love for that to happen. If that were to be the case, I feel like the Blackhawks would be well above my 72-point prediction when the year is over. But being a little bit more realistic, maybe a little bit more on the conservative side, I would think the improvements around him should make this team better. They should play with the puck more, which means he has the opportunity to play with the puck more. The power play actually looks like an NHL power play that he's going to be playing on, which will be nice. So I think, he'll be in, if he's in that point per game range or above, then that's wonderful.
Yeah, I agree with I know we saw some pundits over the summer. I think Matt Larkin of the Hockey News was one of them that were predicting, he's going to make this huge jump over 100 points, all this stuff. I'd love to see that.
Awesome.
I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit. I have him scoring 35 goals as well. I have him with 47 assists just because 82 and 82 sounds nice and even. Then I don't have to do any funky math. I know for a fact that's a point per game.
1 point per game.
It's not 1.07 points a game. It's a point per game.
Easy.
What if he did score 1 point per game, 82 game point streak?
That would
just
be
one
awesome.
per
That'd be
game.
fun.
That'd be a lot
How
of fun.
weird would that
I do
be?
like the fact this picture is chosen. It looks like he drank a whole bunch of cherry Kool-Aid before jumping on the ice.
I thought that was Sam Savoie.
He got his red Capri Sun before he went on the ice.
Cherry.
For Kaprizov.
There you go.
All right, I'm next. I have Connor Bedard for 37 goals and 51 assists for 88 points. I think he's going to have a really good year. And
you want Patrick came back 88 points.
Young Nagel God send us $1. I think there's going to be nights where we look down at the score sheet and we're like, wow, Connor Bedard has 3 points. Like just picking up assists on the power play and those sort of things. I think while we didn't have a ton of those last year, there's going to be some of those games where it's not just he is the star, he is the guy, he does it all himself. I think he's going to have some accumulation games that are going to help him get up there a little bit because he's, like we've all said, he's got help. He has assistance for the first time. So I think that you'll get sprinkled in, you'll like you're talking about a point per game, 1-1, 0-1, but then you'll have a 4, you'll have maybe a 5 once or twice. Those kind of games that are going to get him up in that area. So it's possible. If the power play is clicking and the top line is dominating, then he's going to get his points.
That'd be great.
All right, we came up with some little more casual Hawks overs and unders before the show
more
today.
than or less than.
Depends on who's
yes,
sponsoring
both.
today's show.
So let's start with Taylor Hall. The number is 48.5 games played for the Hawks. Now, 63 games will happen before the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, the question is games played for the Blackhawks over under 48.5, knowing that 63 games happened before the trade deadline, 19 after.
I'm going to go with over because I want to believe that he will be healthy and productive.
Okay.
That's what I want to see.
I am also going to go over, but not a ton over. Maybe 51, 52 games played. Might miss a game here or there just because, maybe the second half of a back-to-back early in the season, he takes a night off. And I also think the Blackhawks might not wait. Kyle Davidson might not wait till March 8th to trade him.
Maybe.
If he's playing well and he's healthy, you probably want to try and trade him as quickly as you can.
Right. Yeah. If his stock is on the rise,
Let him be the guy that sets the trade value market. Trade him mid-February instead of March 8th.
Well, it's going to be interesting with you have the Winter Classic. So you'd like to have your full lineup for that as whoever's healthy, as many marquee players as possible. Then you have that Four Nations face-off from the 10th to the 21st in February. So you got to imagine there's going to be a roster freeze.
There will be a roster.
So it's kind of like you got basically January and then like 2 weeks after that Four Nations to have that window. It's going to be a little curveball in
maybe
how you evaluate the trade market.
Says, hey, we really like Taylor Hall. Let's get him right before that roster freeze where the
Well, he'll have like 2 weeks off, basically.
and the price will probably be lesser because maybe you don't have 3 or 4 teams trying to get him.
Sure, yeah.
And then you could say, now we'll have 2 weeks of practice with our team before playing, because I'm sure the teams will still be practicing during Four Nations face-off. They're not
A little bit, yeah.
They're just not going to sit at home.
No.
So then he could get acclimated and
Yeah.
then be with the team for a couple
Sure.
weeks and then get some on the ice. So I could see that happening.
I'm going to say under 2, not significantly so, but I do think just any player at his age is going to miss a handful of games there, especially the style of game he plays and the severity of the injuries. There might just be days where he's sore and they say, we're just going to give you the night off. We're not pushing for a playoff spot realistically, so just give him a night off or 2. So I'm going to say, 45, 46, like right under that 48.5 number. All right, next up, we have combined shutouts. Last year, for reference, Peter Mrazek had 1 shutout. Laurent Brossoit had 3. So we set the number at 3.5 combined shutouts for the Blackhawks goaltenders.
Are we including that one start Arvid Soderblom might make?
Combined.
Do you think it's going to be a shutout?
Yes, it is.
I'm going to say over.
Okay.
I'm going to say 5. 5 shutouts this year.
Okay.
I'm going to say under. I think they'll have 3 combined. I know Brossoit had 3 on his own last year, but
It's a different team.
that Winnipeg team is a little more defensively structured than the Blackhawks are.
A little better.
I'm going to go under. I think they'll have 3 combined shutouts.
I'm going slightly over with 4. So
Okay.
this team's better defensively. All right, next up, Lucas Reichel games in Chicago as a Blackhawk. 61.5. Reminding everybody that, again, the number possible for the trade deadline is 63.
Under.
61.5 for
So
Lucas
these are
Reichel
games
games.
played, not games with the team, right?
Yeah, this is him dressed in the
Right.
lineup. Games
Playing-
played.
Playing
Yes,
games,
games played.
not
Under.
healthy scratched.
Under.
I'm going to go over. I think at some point early in the year, he'll figure it out to where he's at least a consistent something as opposed to consistent nothing.
I hope so.
And, if they
I don't know,
do,
I hope I'm wrong, but
if they do want, if the thought is we've got to get this guy out of here, we got to trade him, you've got to hope he does something because his trade value is zilch right now.
Yeah.
So I'll go over. I think I'm still pulling for Lucas. I think at some point, hopefully by November, he figures it out, or they just simplify it enough for him and say, just go do this. And he just goes and does that, and it keeps him in the lineup.
Yeah, I think I'm right on the fence of this one. But I think while we're looking at it opening day, where's the spot for him? But the veterans you brought in, Craig Smith, Pat Maroon, we mentioned Taylor Hall. There's some guys that might miss some games, and I think he's the first guy to draw in. So I'm going to go over, but slightly. Next category, number of players traded in season, 3.5. Now, you've got Pat Maroon, Alec Martinez on 1-year deals. Taylor Hall has just this year left. Athanasiou has just this year left.
Craig Smith's on a 1 year.
Yep, Craig Smith. So that's 5 off the top of our head with deals
Ryan
expiring.
Donato is
Donato's expiring.
He's got an expiring
So there's
deal.
6.
Joey Anderson expiring.
Yeah,
Or
he's
just on-
a-
just
he's
a
on
1-year deal?
1 year. There's only one more year beyond this for a Connor Murphy. Do you try a Jake McCabe type deal if he could stay healthy? There's plenty of candidates out there.
All right, so 3.5. What do you think?
I think over. I don't know. It's hard to say because I think last year we expected so many guys to be dealt, and some of them got extensions, and there's a part of me that thinks if Taylor Hall is healthy and productive, he might be someone that they say, maybe you stick around on a 2-year deal, 2-year extension or something like that, and kind of helps insulate that lineup, keeps a guy in the top 6 for another at least year while you're waiting for these younger guys to develop, give another year for Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore and those guys to kind of come along. So I don't know if it's a foregone conclusion that Taylor Hall is going to be traded. I think it's more likely that he is, but
I agree though.
I wouldn't say it's out of the realm of possibility that he could be, like we didn't know if Nick Foligno was going to be traded or kept around. He got an extension, all that stuff. So, but I still think over. I think I wonder what they do with Athanasiou. I don't know. He's not playing himself into the lineup to start the season. It seems like, so I don't know what you do there, but that's a lot of money to try and move. Donato, who knows? Maroon and Smith feel like guys that if they play well and they're contributing, they're going to be like rewarded with like, here, go to a contender,
right.
Kind of thing. Defensively, Martinez, again, he feels like another guy that's like, if he's productive and plays the role that he's asked to, go back to Vegas. Like, they don't care about money. So yeah, I think there will be enough guys that are moved. And I mean, who knows, we might see some sort of maybe an Isaac Phillips trade or something, or a Louis Crevier, like, minor league trade or something like that to give those guys an opportunity to play in the NHL. Who knows? But I think over 3.5 is
all right,
my guess.
It's a tough one. I mean, I know we expected guys to get moved last year, but then it also, like, they also have to perform. Like, we all thought Tyler Johnson was going to be a perfect trade deadline guy, and nobody wanted him.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Right, yeah.
So I'm going to go under, but at 3.
Okay.
I think like Alec Martinez, yeah, probably. If Taylor Hall stays healthy, that's a guy. And then I think one of the two of Smith or Maroon goes, and that's going to be A, based on production.
Yeah.
And B, I think, like, if you brought those guys in to be like your locker room leader type guys, and we've seen it a lot already with both of those guys in the room are they're part of it. Maroon is always laughing, keeps things loose.
Yeah.
There might be some more value keeping those guys around for the full season than the 6th round draft pick you're going to get for one of those guys. So I think only one of those two guys gets moved. So I'll go 3.
Okay. I'm going to go over because I think, not based on any inside information or anything, I think something's going to happen soon.
Bro.
I think you're going to make a move soon. So that's going to give an early bump to that prediction. So I'm going to say over. All right, next up, and this is the last one we're going to do, points for Philip Kurashev. Last year he had 54. We set the number at 59.5.
Over.
All right.
62.
I'm writing these down too. We're going to go back and pay these off in the summer.
Okay.
I too am going to go over. I think he'll have 63 points. I think
$1.
I think he's going to play. He may be their solution to second line center.
Yeah,
it looks like that's where he's starting for the season.
Yeah.
And if Taylor Hall is healthy and productive, like we all hope he is, that's going to bode well for Philip Kurashev.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably play on the second power play unit.
Yeah.
I think he's going to prove that last season wasn't a fluke, and it wasn't just because of Connor Bedard. And he might still get some time with Connor Bedard just because they work so well together. So I'll go over 63 points for Kurashev, and I hope Philip Kurashev is like what eventually happens for Lucas Reichel.
That'd be great. And I'm going to go over to just slightly 61 points for Philip Kurashev. I think he's looked outstanding in camp.
We are the Philip Kurashev fan club.
Yes, I can't wait to see how he looks tomorrow night in Utah. We're going to be there. We're going to be post-game for all of you. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. Make sure you're here. The regular season has finally arrived. We appreciate your support. And if you've been waiting, now is a great time to become a diehard here at CHGO. You get access to our members-only Discord, where we have pledged to be more active this season. We've got way more written content coming out. Rebuild Report, Blackhawks Beat, Morning Chirps from Greg after every game. Tons of stuff coming your way there. You get a free shirt or hat upon sign-up. You get 20% off all of our events, all of our merch. It's a great deal. You go to one event, you get your free shirt. It basically pays for itself, and it helps us out, and it helps us to continue to bring you great content like we do, great guests that join the staff here, like Cole Kmet and others that could be announced shortly. So jump in there, become a diehard today.
Is that a teaser?
Maybe. AllCHGO.com. save your pickle money and become a diehard. All right, we'll talk to everybody tomorrow night after Hawks and Utah Hockey Club right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.